All right. Hi everyone. How is it going? All good, all cool. I wasn't expecting many people to be here attending live lecture because the match today. How is it going, guys? Are you here? All good. Great. So we are going to move further now. Until yesterday, I used to teach just JavaScript and React.js. But now that is going to change, and for the first time I'm going to teach Next.js as well. I hope you enjoyed as much as have you enjoyed my other workshops like JavaScript or React.js. So I hope you enjoyed that as well. This workshop, that is Next.js. Again, we will start right from the scratch, but you should have a decent knowledge of React.js in order to work with this, because the basic stuff like routing, what is routing, or how to create a component, how to get CSS, why are we creating JS files, that should all be clear beforehand before moving on to Next.js. That is why I suggest that you have a decent knowledge of React.js, and since you're all coming here after learning React.js, so it is going to be good for you. If you just write Next.js install, so that we can go and see how to install that, it's similar to how you get it in React.js. It also requires you to have Node. So if you don't have that, you can go to nodejs.org and download the long-term support version. Okay, but I guess like almost everyone is having that, because for React.js also we need a long-term support version of Node.js. If not long-term support, because long-term support currently is 20.13, and if you check, the requirement is 18.17. So even if you have an older version, that is also fine. And at any point of time, if you feel that you want to check which version have you got, then go to command prompt or PowerShell and you can write node-v node-version, and it will tell you what version have you got in your system. Like I have 20.12.1, so if I write node-version, and it will tell me what version do I have. So I have almost the recent one. They keep on releasing the new stuff, that is why you see 1.3 over here, but yeah, almost new, right? So that's there. Apart from that, why Next.js? In short, before why Next.js, in short, it's the most popular React framework out there. So there are multiple frameworks that you will see for React, but none of them is as popular as Next.js. It also allows you to build full stack applications quickly. It comes with a bunch of features, for example, routing. So in React.js, when we used to work with routing, we had to get React router, which was not officially a part of React, but inside Next.js, you get that. In React.js, you had to install React router, then you had to deal with bunch of stuff over there, right? In traditional React apps, we are responsible for installing and setting up the library, but in Next.js, we just need to decide on the root segment. So if I have to create a about page, I will just create a about folder inside my app component, and that is it. My about root will be created. I do not need to install React router. I do not need to import things for that. I do not need to create a separate page for that. I do not need to assign what page needs to be assigned at what port or what URL. No, I did not need to do all of that. I just need to create a about folder and my route will be created. Next.js is really amazing. You can actually build full stack applications with this. That is, we don't have to build a server separately, right? Just like with routing, we just need to follow the configuration, and within minutes we are able to write server code side by side with our front end logic. Okay, I hope that is making some sense to you and why are we going to get that. So let's move into the installation part, and here you will get this command where you can install it. So I'll copy this command, I'll go back to my PowerShell, hit enter, and this is the simplest command that you see. We have npx create next app at the latest, and you can hit enter. Okay, once you hit enter, it will ask you to give the project name. So we will name it NextJS May 24. Okay, we will name it as such. I will hit enter. Do I need TypeScript? No, I'm not going to work with TypeScript. Do I need ESLint? No. As for Tailwind CSS, now this is a choice. So again, just like TypeScript, I chose to move with JavaScript, so I chose no over there. In this workshop, even if you don't know Tailwind CSS, it's fine because we are going to learn that. We are going to learn a lot of stuff in this workshop. So we will keep Tailwind CSS as yes. We'll make that. Do I need this? No. App router? Yes, I need app router because I do not want to install external library. Rather, I want app router to be a part of NextJS. So I'm going to hit enter over here. And do I need this? No. That's it. Now it will start to install the dependencies, that is React, React DOM, and also Next, because that is what we are going to work on. Apart from that, we chose over here Tailwind CSS, so it is also getting dev dependencies of that, like Post CSS and Tailwind CSS. So that is something also we will have a look at. So we'll wait for a few seconds, and once this is installed, as always, we'll go inside the folder, we'll go inside the code, and we'll start our development server. Until then, if you have any question, like we have just started, but still, if you have any question, if you have any doubt regarding the workshop, regarding the timing, or anything at all, you can go ahead and ask.
Hi, Rupam.
Hi.
Actually, my name is Ramya, and I want to ask regarding the Next.js thing. Can we install this with White?
With white?
Yeah.
No, not that I know of. No.
Okay. So, because React projects we are installing with White, right?
Yeah,
So
it
that's why.
helps a bit over there, but this is already much faster, so you don't need that. You can check it out if it is available. Surely it will be available, but I tend to use this only.
Okay, NPX package. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have classes only on the weekends, right?
Yeah, just the Saturday and Sunday. This time
Oh,
only 9 p.m. to 10:30.
10:30. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so here's our app, and it's all done. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to go inside our app. So cd Next.js May 24. I don't think I installed it inside the desktop, so now I will have to go this way only. Or you can go inside your admin folder that you have inside users in your local disk C, or wherever you have installed it in your system. I have installed it here, so I will have to go inside that, and then I'll write code dot, hit enter, and it will start my code. Here I am, and this is my whole app. We'll keep on looking into these files and folders one by one throughout the workshop, but I feel since you're here after a React.js workshop, so you're aware of most of things. Like git ignore, you know what jsconfig.json is, you are aware what these packages are, you are aware of okay, this I will have to explain, but later on we'll discuss. This is basically an align with the Tailwind CSS plugin over here. So what are the properties that we have to use? They're coming from that, and if we hadn't installed Tailwind, then we probably didn't have got this, because if you see, this is post css.config.mjs, and if you look back over here, it was installing here post css, just like that. just like we have this tailwind.config.js. So when you installed Tailwind, it gets these files. Apart from that, you are very well aware of node modules. I do not need to go on that. As for the public folder, again, you just have these SVGs over here that are working for you. Apart from that, this is the main folder that we are going to work on, that is app folder. Inside this directory only, always and always, we are going to work on. In order to start our app, I will just go ahead into my terminal and I will hit npm run dev. And this is going to start my development server, as you can see. Yeah, it's ready. Let's try to visit that. It's compiling, so we'll wait for that as well. Once it is ready, we'll know and we'll be able to work on that. Let's wait for that. Compile will be written over here. So once it is done, so we'll, yeah, all done. So this is the app that we have currently, right? Default app that we get. If you go to app directory, here you will see page.js, which is essentially your main page that you have over here. This is something that we are going to work on, and yeah, this will remain our favorite app folder, and here we'll work throughout. Okay, any confusion till now? Any question? Anything that you might feel that you want to ask? No? Are we on the same page? Just give me a yes or no. If it is all clear, if we are on the same page, just give me a yes over here so that we can move forward. Quickly do that. Write down yes and we'll move further then. All good. Before we move further, I also want you to get one extension if you don't have that yet, and that is ES7. I asked you to install that during our React lectures also. So if you don't have that yet, you can install this. You can get it from here, search for ES7 and you'll get it. Okay. Now we're going to start over here. In our page.js, I'm going to remove everything. Okay, this is going to be our main page. So whatever you were having a look at here, it was because of this page.js only. So here I'll come and here I'll create with this RFCE. Yeah, once you write RFCE, you start getting this. And instead of just a page, I'm going to make a, actually, I want to make a functional export, but I do want that in another way. Yeah, let's get it this way. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this home page instead. Okay, and I'm going to remove this React from here because I do not need that now. I'm not working on React. So now you can see here page is written. If I change this to home page, there you go. So you have home page right here. Oh no, that is fine. That is not an issue. Okay, so you have this over here. So basically I have created a component. I'm exporting that. So whatever you create inside this app directory, when you have this app directory, and whatever, like seriously, whatever you create inside this page.js, inside this directly, this is your app directory. In this you will create page.js, and whatever you create here, that is going to get shown right here. Okay, and since we are using Tailwind as well, so I'm going to give some classes. So I'm going to come here, and instead of just having a div, I'm going to create a h1 heading, and I'm going to give class of text dash 7XL. I'm going to explain these classes later on, but right now you can just focus it like this. So I'll save this, and now if I take you back, okay, I'll have to write something, right? I was just, yeah, there you can see home page, right? These lines that you see are coming because of the CSS that we are having, so we are going to remove the CSS as well now. So I will leave these Tailwind things for now, and I will remove everything else. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so inside app folder we are having page.js, and whatever you write in that is going to be reflected over there, as you can see. Perfect. Now let's say if I have to create about page, okay, like this, about, if I write /about, so I should go somewhere. Ideally in React.js it wouldn't take you anywhere, but in NextJS if you try to go somewhere like this, firstly it gives you a 404 error that this page could not be found. Okay, it gives you a 404 error and it says that this page is not found. But I just told you that it is very easy in NextJS to create a new page. We go inside our app directory and I will create my about page, about folder. When you do this, and if I create now page.js over here, I will copy this code, I will paste it here inside about page, and you know what, I'm going to just directly make this about like this. So this would be about page, and that's it. Look, I am at my about page now. So now if I go back to my home page, I have my home page, as well as if I have to create another page, I can be there as well. So how do you create a new page? Inside app folder, you just create another folder with that name. So let's say if you have about page, then you write it about. Inside that you create a page.js. Once you have that, everything works and you face no issues. Yeah, any doubt, any question? No? At any point of time, if you feel that you have any doubt, just unmute yourself and ask whenever I ask you that is there any doubt or anything like that.
So Rupam, in Next.js, we don't need to configure the routing, right?
No.
So how the home page is getting displayed, like the from the page.js, right? Like
On the main page, like localhost 3000, and you have that home page. For that you do not need any routing, you do not need any folder. You create that page.js right inside this app directory only. This is your main directory, app directory. Inside that only, whatever page.js you create, that is assigned as a home page, that is assigned as a localhost 3000, or let's say whatever your website name is, it will be assigned to that. Now the routing that you need to create, for that you will have to create separate folders, like here I have created for about page. Clear?
okay, yeah, thank you.
Cool. Now you can use .js as well as .jsx. If you are getting confused that Rupam, somewhere people use .js, somewhere people use .jsx. Now it is up to you which you want to use. My preference is setting up the files here in the app as page.js, and when I'm creating the components which I'll create later on for some particular functionality, that I will create as .jsx. So pages I will create as .js, the files I will create as .js, while the functionality or the components that I will create later on, they will be .jsx. Okay, so that will help me differentiate between the pages and components. Now, whatever is your preference, you can continue with that. I have told you my preference and how I am going to move towards in this workshop. Okay. Now, let's find out about link component. So you have a link component, just like in React router, if you remember, there used to be a link component. So just like that, we have it here as well. You can import it. So we are going to import link, and that is going to come from next/link. Okay. And if I have to use that, I can go here, I can write link like this, and I will make it about page. Obviously, I will have to pass the link over here, so I'll write href, and here I will pass /about. Okay, so I'll save this, go back, and you can see this now here. I'll give it a class name as well, which is going to come from Tailwind, and here I'll write text to Excel. Basically, it's the styling that I'm giving. I haven't explained Tailwind CSS to you. I know that. Don't worry about that. I will explain it to you. It will get better. But consider these like that they are just some CSS that are already given. Okay. Please join on time, guys. So now, if I have this homepage heading over here, other than that, I have this link component which I have created, which is having about page in it. Okay, so if I click on that, I will be taken to /about. So now if I click on that, look, I will be taken to /about, which is my about page. Okay, now, so this is how you can create links if you want. Same link, a similar kind of a link, you can create an about page as well. So you can go here and you can write that I want to go to the home page, so / and here you can write home page kind of a stuff. Okay, we are not importing that, so we need to import link now. So import link from next/link, and then yeah, now it will refresh and you will get home page. So if I click on that, I'll be taken to home page, and if I click back, I'll be taken here. Normally we used to do it with the help of React router in React.js, but we don't need that now. We can work without that as well. Any doubts so far? Any question? You can create nested routes also. So if I, let's say, if I'm at about page, okay, and if I, let's say, go to /info, one more folder inside, that is, I'm trying to create a nested route. If I try to create that, then I get a 404 error because you have not created any such page. So what do? You create another folder inside this about folder. That is something I'll do. I'll create another folder with the name of info like this. And yes, you guessed it right. We'll have to create a page.js as well. Okay, so now the page.js folder is created, the file is created, and here I can go with my code rfce or rfce. Here we have that, and we can remove this line. We don't need that. And instead of just getting a page, I will make this about info page. Okay, and in here I can make a h1 heading, about info page. Save this, go back, and now you will see about info page. So what did we do? We basically we had app folder, our main directory that we were having. Inside that, we created app about folder, with the help of which we were able to route to /about like this, right? But we needed to go deep inside it, and we wanted to create a nested route to this /about/info. So if you want to go inside about, For info, you will have to create another folder inside about with the name of info, and inside that you can create page.js, which helps you to create a nested route. Okay, hope this is very clear. So can we change the name page? No, you can't do that. You have to create page.js itself. Yeah. Any other question? Any other doubt? All right. So let's create some more routes. So just like we have about page, let's create some more routes in here. Okay. Not inside about page. Let's create for this. I'm going to create one for client. And inside this, I will create page.js. Okay, this is going to my client folder, and I will have page.js rfce, and I'm going to make this client page. I will save this and I will remove this. So if I now try to go inside client, I should have that. Yep, we have that client page. Let's give that a class name of text7xl as well, and it will be a bit bigger. Okay, same kind of stuff we are going to create again and again inside this. We'll use that later on, so you will realize we are going to make a very big project. So for that we are preparing all of this. Okay, I'm going to create page.js in here. Inside strings I have to create page.js. Okay, and in here I'm going to make this what? Drinks page. Let's save it, go back. All right, let's create more of this. Just a second, okay, just a second. Yeah, sorry about that. So in our app folder, we are going to create more folders. I'll make one for Prisma example as well. And in here I will create page.js rsce. There you go. Let's make it what? Prisma. So we are going to work on Prisma as well, so that we can create full stack applications. So for that we are creating this. We'll discuss all of this in great detail in the coming lectures, so you do not need to worry. As the query, I will create again page.js. Okay, and for this I'm going to make it query page. Okay, I'm not sure about query page. When I started making this project, I created this, but later on I don't remember that I used it or not. We'll create it, delete it later on if need be. And here I'm going to make this rfce, and make it tasks page. Yeah. Yeah, now all are fine. Okay, so we have created all these folders that we needed, and in all of them we have created page.js as well. So this is our clients page, this is our Brinks page, this is our Prisma example page, this is our query page, and this is our tasks page that we have. Okay, so these are the folders that we needed to create. We have created them. Now we are going to move towards the CSS part. That is the Tailwind part that we are using in this workshop. To be specific, we are going to use something called DaisyUI. We have already installed Tailwind in the starting, but what we are exactly going to install is something called DaisyUI. DaisyUI is basically component library which is built on top of Tailwind CSS. As you can see, DaisyUI Tailwind CSS component. So it is built on top of Tailwind CSS only. Let's see if this, yeah, here. Okay, so it is a kind of a library you can call of Tailwind CSS which offers many things. Basically, what was I saying? Yeah, basically I can build my projects faster with Tailwind classes. The result is, to be honest, quite slick, which we'll see that by just writing these class names as we were writing it over here. By just writing these class names, we are able to do that. We do not need to write any CSS in index.css, nothing we have to do. It handles all of these things on its own. And specifically, we are going to use this DaisyUI in order to work with that, right? So if we have to get it, we can run this in our terminal and it will make our work much easier. Okay, so let's do that. And specifically, I want you to run one more thing. Apart from this line is fine. Apart from this, I also want you to get the typography of Tailwind CSS. So something like this you will have to run. Typography. Just check the spelling one because I make spelling mistakes a lot. Tailwind npm @tailwind css @typography. Yeah, that is fine. Now this field we are going to cut. We are going to go into our terminal, and in here we are going to paste this. Hit enter, and we are going to install this now. I will give these to you as well. Here, these are the commands that need to be run. Okay, so we'll wait for that to get installed, and once it does, we'll check that in the packages and we'll be good to go. So yeah, here it is DaisyUI as well. Yeah, it's working fine. Let it install other one also, and then we'll move further. The Tailwind CSS / typography. Yeah, it installed that as well, so that is fine. We have that. We have Tailwind CSS / typography in the dependencies and DaisyUI as well. Now that is installed, we want to make one more change. We would want to make change in, you can see, add DaisyUI to tailwind.config.js. So we would have to go back to tailwind.config.js, and here inside plugins we need to write require DaisyUI. Inside plugins we need to write require DaisyUI, but we also got that Tailwind CSS / typography, so we will have to write for that also. Here you go, and this will do your work like this. Write a comma between them when you're doing that. Let me share this with you so that you can write it directly. And if you're watching the recording, you can very well type it out by pausing this video. Okay, so you can write it like this. Okay, and again you'll have to run npm run dev in order to make sure that whatever you are going to use now, that is there. That is this Tailwind CSS / typography, as well as your DaisyUI. Okay, so localhost 3001. Let's visit that now. Okay, it's compiling yet, so we'll have to wait for a few more minutes, few more seconds. Now look, it has got DaisyUI, as you can see here. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so there you have it. You have your home page, about page, and all of that what you are having. Fine with that. Any doubt, any confusion till now? Are you following me? Are we on the same page? All good? Yes? Any doubt? If you have any doubt, just let me know. You do not need to write yes, no, anything. If you have any doubt, just let me know before we move further. Hello? I think someone's mic was on. Sunny. Okay, you guys are installing that. Okay, install it. I'll wait for a few seconds. Okay, install it. I'll give you a minute. Until then, I will get to this. Why we using DaisyUI if we have installed Tailwind? Just like because of the reason why you use React.js when you still have JavaScript, right? So DaisyUI is kind of a framework for that. It is a component library for that. It is also built on top of Tailwind only. So that is why we still have JavaScript now. Then also we use React.js. Okay. In a Tailwind CSS, you need to write utility class names for every element, 1000 of class names just to style the basic element. But in here, you wouldn't have to do that. So instead of writing 100 class name for every element, every page, every project again and again, use semantic class names. It's descriptive, faster, cleaner, and easier to maintain. Like this, like I have been using, that you can write px4 or py3 or text center, right? You can continue it like this. You do not need to write that. Okay, now I need it for text transform or anything like that. No, you can just write px4 and that will be it. So it makes your life much more easier. It shortens the things. Yes, it is built on top of Tailwind only. So essentially, in the background, in the loop, you are still using Tailwind. Right? I will search for Tailwind as well, just so that I can give you an idea about that as well. So Tailwind CSS. I will open this first link. I will wait for a minute. Install. You guys can install it and all that, and then I'll let you know. Okay, can we move further? Okay, let's do that. I think it would be installed for now. Great. All right, Sunny. So here, normally when you work with CSS, you are well aware that you create your HTML or whatever, and inside style, you try to write your CSS when you want to create that. With Tailwind, you do not need to do that. You have custom designs which works without writing CSS, and for that, you see this code that you just saw. This, it is exactly similar to this code, and because you have now removed all of what you needed for the CSS, you have removed all the CSS code. Now you just need to write the class name, and with that, just by writing that, you're good to go. You pass your font, you pass your background color, you pass your padding. So let's say if I need a padding of 6 pixels, I can just write p6 and it will give that, right? If I, let's say, needed margin auto, so I would just write mx auto and it will give me a margin. For, you can see, width, we just need to write w dash and how much width do I need. If I need, let's say, height, how much height do I need, right? Okay, let me tell you about this also. We give you colors. Okay, so here you can see you have different shades of color. You can just pass on the weight, how much weight do you have, and that would make your life much more easier. So just a second. Okay, let's say I want to apply this weight. So you can see this has a weight of what, 50. So I can just pass in there that okay, now I need the weight of 50, now I need a weight of 100. So I just need to pass a color name, and then I just need to pass this value that I have, and it would take it accordingly. So you can pass color as well as you can pass shade. I'm going very slow so that everything is clear on its own. So you can create really awesome things with this just by writing a simple CSS and all of that. You do not need to write any CSS, just include the classes and that will be it. It's like, let's say if I have to get some width, okay, if I have to get, let's say, get a width of half rem, 0.5 rem, in that case I will just write w2 w-2 and that's it, my width will be applied. We are going to see many such things, so you do not need to worry much. Okay, let me show you an example as well. In here, inside the home page, what I'll do is I'll create a button. I'll save changes, something like that, and in here I'll say class. And now look, if I have to give a background color, so I'll write bg. If I have to give a sky background color, so I'll write sky, and let's say I will give it a weight of 500. Look, it has got that. If I decrease the weight, let's say 200, and if I save this, look, it's lighter, right? This is a button that you have. So this is how these things work. Let me take this below and let's wrap our app in the empty fragments. Here, have a look. This is how these things are going to work. Also, if I have to, let's say, create a hover for that, so you do not need to separately create a hover. You can just write hover over here, and I will pass in, okay, inside class name only I will have to pass. So in here I will write hover bg sky, and I just want to change the shade, so 700. So now look, if I hover on that, the background color changes. So slick, so smooth to just work with the Tailwind. We do not need to write any CSS. We do not need to like give hours for that. It's so simple to do this, to do all these things. Is this all clear? Now obviously whenever you want to see an example, you can move further, you can check these out from here and how to pass in, right? And you'll be able to go. Also, let's say if I have to look for padding, let me show you that as well. Somewhere here it should be here. Okay, so let's say if I have to give a padding of 0 pixels, so I will just write p0. If I have to give it a padding left of 0 pixels, so I will write px0. Okay, this 0 you can obviously replace with some value like this, right? If you have to give padding left of 1 pixel, you can write plpx. So you can create things accordingly. You can continue looking here. Once you continue, look here, if you have to give it a 0.25 rem, then it will be px1. So this 1 is 0.25 rem or 4 pixels. Then if you write 2, that will be 0.5 rem or 8 pixels. If you write px3, then that will be 0.75 rem or 12 pixels. So accordingly, right? Then if you want padding top, then py. If you want padding inline start, then ps. You can check all of these out over here. For margin you can check, for other things also you can check here. Okay, I'm not saying that you will get it at the first time, but just like every other thing, we will have to practice on that, and once we practice, we'll be good to go. Yeah. And if you want to see more examples, you can check here, right? Picturesque examples are here. So this will help you to know that, okay, if I write m8, that means I will get padding from all the sides, right? So yeah, this is how you can go accordingly. If we look for width, let's say, for width also similar kind of a thing is here. If you write w96, you get this width. You can check how much width you get for how much content. Again, the same thing, 1 for 0.25 rem or 4 pixels. That remains same for each of them. That you do not need to worry about. So I just wrote for hover. So you might be wondering that, Rupam, how did you get that hover thing? So you can just look somewhere here. It was inside core concepts, if I'm not wrong. Let me check that for you. Yeah, here, hover, focus, and other states. So look, hover is here. I took this same example. I remembered this only, that I saw this over here, so I remember that only. Everybody takes this example only from here. I mean, at least for the people who I have taught for Tailwind, we start with this example only. Earlier I used to teach Tailwind. Now I have stopped doing that. But I feel that this is really, really good. Tailwind is a great thing in itself. If you're looking for responsive design for the mobile one, you can go accordingly, right? Rather than writing all of this, just write SM. Rather than writing for minimum width, just write MD here, like this. Getting it? So you can continue things accordingly. Same is the case with DaisyUI as well. So if I move further and if I take you to DaisyUI, now maybe it might be possible that during the classes, during the workshop, I am not able to specify exactly which class that I'm using is from Tailwind CSS, which class that I'm using is from this DaisyUI, but I will try to mention whenever I create a certain class. Either I will try to mention which class is Tailwind, which class is DaisyUI. Mostly I feel that you would know. So if I show you for, let's say, button, okay, not this one, button I was looking for, here, this, okay. Now look here, if I am looking for here, if I have to, like, let's say, create this neutral button which is having this kind of a design, then I can just pass in btn dash neutral and that would do my work. Look here, right? And if I have to create, let's say, this primary button, so for primary you can say you have this btn dash primary, right? Similarly over here you can see btn success, bts warning, bts error, and you can also see you are also going to get this hover on its own. So if I'm creating this info button, and if I just create a simple button like this, okay, and let me replace this with that, paste it here. I will go back. Let's wait for it to come here. Now look, the button is created. I just passed this btn dash info and this btn class, and if I go back, hover is also there, right? And this slick, you see, when I click on that, it gets a bit of a bounce for that. That is also there. So I can create whatever I want. You can just keep on going here, like this success button that you have. If you want to get this style, you can copy this. And look, right? So these things can be created so quickly and so smoothly that we don't need to even worry about other things. You can check for other things as well, like you have themes over here. To use a theme, add its name in tailwind config.js, activate it by adding data theme, attribute to HTML tag, and you'll be able to use it. So we'll see that as well. How is the attribute class working versus a class name? Basically here we are not going to pass in CSS, but I would suggest that you check it out. That if I have CSS and I also have that attribute class from, let's say, Tailwind or DaisyUI, so which is going to work? Check that out. You will like it.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
so I was just wondering, like, you have class and you have class name. So the class name goes for the components, right? But button.
Yeah, it would work.
Okay,
Then also it will work. In Next, it's fine. It will work here.
okay, so I can pass class name here also for the button.
Yeah, yeah, that would work. Not an issue.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that works, but still, it would be better if you continue with the class name only. That is working for us, but that does not mean that you should use it. It is suggested that to use class name only, although it is working as we can see here, right?
Right,
But it will be better that if you use class name. So just in case somewhere on some system if it doesn't work, we don't want that. So you would be using
right.
class names itself.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't
Yes.
see that. I copied it from different place. It works. I know that it works, but we shouldn't use it still.
Yeah, maybe outside the React component, if we are just using, like,
Exactly.
just,
It might not work there.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Let's look for themes also. So it's really easy to use themes as well in this. Let me check that out. Where do we have that theme? Also, if you look for colors in this, yeah, yeah. Inside DaisyUI, you are going to pass colors like this. If I want a background of green, I will write it like this, and then I would pass weight. If we just saw that if we need it over here, it was similar to that only, right? So we were using that. So in here also that remains, but in here you also get this primary, secondary, and accent. So this was for our Tailwind CSS, and this is something that we are going to use now. Okay. So when we were working with just with Tailwind CSS, we were working like this, but now we are going to use it like this. What is, if that is primary, or that is secondary, or accent, depending on the weight. So now you see we are getting this. Okay. apart from that, we also have themes over here. It is very easy, it is very smooth to like go from one theme to another, right? You can create your own theme. So we have dark light theme, you have dark theme, you have cupcake theme. There is also one very popular, that is a Dracula. If you see over here, somewhere here it might be present. Then you have one for winter as well. So you can have multiple themes over there. You can see how the button changes, how the colors changes. You can see that over here. You can export them and you can use them later on. So if I go to like this DaisyUI, let me take you there. Where is that module.exports? Okay, here, right? So you can pass it on there and you'll be able to use that. Also, the colors that we were looking into, if you scroll down, you can see more of them, more options are available here. You will also see that which is required or optional for themes. So that is also there. And how to use them. Okay, so if you're using, let's say, CSS variable, like if you're using .css file, in that case you can use variables like this. Correct? So yeah, you go ahead and use them. And so this was a bit of an intro about Tailwind, CSS and DaisyUI and how we are going to use that. So we'll keep on using them, and yeah, this is all I have for you for this. All clear in Tailwind, CSS and DaisyUI. Any doubt, any question, just let me know if you have anything to ask. Okay, let's move back to NextJS then. Okay, Danny says it's clear. Great, Danny. Let's move back to this. We are going to move to layout.js file now. Okay, we are going to move to layout.js file now, and we are going to work on that. This is essentially, basically, it's a way for us to share UI. For example, let's say if I want to share navbar among multiple pages, right? Once you create a navbar, you want that for each and every page. So if I take you here, look, you have this navbar right over here on the top, in which you can see this logo, version, your search button and all of this. Even if I go to some other page, I still see that navbar. So you want to share that navbar with each and every page. When you want to do that, you do it in NextJS with the help of this layout.js. So it's not like that you have to make it static, you will have to pass that navbar component everywhere. No. Inside app directory that you have, just create a layout.js file, and whatever you write it here, that will be included in each and every file. So layout file in the app folder is called your root layout. Yes, you can create other layouts for other particular page as well. So that is a separate thing. We will discuss that. But for now, we are looking for the root layout, which will be shared by all the pages that you create. So whatever we place in this component will be shared with our entire application. Right? We can import our CSS as well as you can see, as well as our metadata. So if I make some changes in metadata, that will also be shown. One more thing, layout component is looking for very special prop from React, and the prop name is children, and we must include the children in return. As you can see here, I have included. And the elements we are going to place around children will be part of our layout in this. Basically, children are all the pages in our application. We will take an example and you will be able to understand it much better. So let's write some code for that. Okay. let's create a navbar kind of a thing. Let's do that. So if I make some changes over here, if I, let's say, go to this title, and if I make it NextJS tutorial, save this, yeah, this has changed. Now even if I go to a separate page, that will still remain there. It's not like this for some particular page. And in here you can also change this. So build awesome stuff with NextJS. Whenever we have this description, we'll be able to see that, but we are not showing that, so it's fine. Apart from that, let's create our navbar. That will be better. So we are going to do that. I'm going to come here and I'm going to keep this HTML as it is. Inside body, obviously this is going to be here, but what I want to be included in each and every file, I will include it with children. So I will make a nav over here, and I will give it a class name of text-2xl, and also one for text-primary. I hope you know where this primary is coming from. It is coming from DaisyUI. I will write text-primary, and I will pass in this is navbar. Why here? Not here. Here. This is navbar. I will save this. So you can see we have created a nav around children. So if you go back, you will see this is the navbar here. And if I go to about page, this navbar is still here. If I go to, let's say, info page, this navbar is still here. So now, as I said, whatever you create inside your this layout.js, and you write it around your children, that is shown everywhere. Okay, hope this is very, very clear. Now let's do one thing. What we are going to do is we are going to create a components folder in our root. Not inside this, but in here itself, we are going to create a components folder. Okay, and in here I'm going to create a navbar.jsx. So as I told you, I will, whenever I have to create a page, I will make it .js, and whenever I have to create a component, I will make it navbar.jsx. So it is here. So whatever the links that I want, I will include them. So let's say I want links. I will make an array, and then I will iterate over this array in order to get all of the links. So I will get href. That is going to be /client. So whatever the folder that I created client, drinks, Prisma example, query, and tasks, right? So let's get that. Label is going to be client, and I want more such. So drinks, task, and query. Drinks, tasks, and one more query is going to be here. And that is also something that I want to do. Now let's create a navbar. Const navbar, just going to come here. For that I'm creating a component. Yes, I will have to return. I will create a nav with a class name of bg base 300. Yeah, and I will also like to give padding to this py4 on the top. Okay, not neck, but I would like to make this nav. I will create a div in this with a class name of navbar, and I will also give it a class name of px8, also max width to be 6xl, also mx auto, so margin auto, and flex is going to be column, sm flex row. This would do my work. Whatever I needed, all the CSS has been given. I will create a link here which is going to come from next link, so this will get that. Not like this. I want to import a link. That is something I want. The link is going to come from, and link is going to have firstly this home page link I'm going to get, and this is going to have a class name of btn and btn dash primary. And here I'm going to write next.js. Okay, so I will go back to layout.js, and here I will import that. So import navbar from @components that we are having folder, and I want navbar from there, which I am going to include here. Like this. So okay, we are not using that components directly, so that might be an issue right now, so we will have to work on that. But what if I write it like this? Did we find that?
I
Yes.
think just dot slash.
Unsupported server component type all. Then we have navbar.jsx over here. Okay, export default navbar. Let's see. Yeah, perfect. So we are not exporting that. That was an issue. Otherwise, this slash would have done that. Okay, so we are exporting this now. We have created a nav inside which we have a div, inside which we have a link with a class with a text of NextJS, which you can see here. If I go to about page and if I click on this button, then I get back to home page. Let's go back to navbar.js and let's write something more. So we will create an unordered list with a class name of menu and menu dash horizontal, like this, and I also want mdml8, right? And inside this unordered list, I'm going to map over my links array that I'm having. So link, there you go, and in here return. Let's create a list item. Obviously, as always, we'll have to pass some key. So link.href, that is always going to be unique because here they are all different. So obviously link is always going to be different, so that would help us. Then I will create a link over here, and in here link.href, like this. Class name Not sure. Let's give it capitalize. That would help. And in here you can give link dot label that we are having, so that we can show what it is exactly that we are creating. Perfect. Yeah, this should do it. So here, client brings task query. Perfect. It works just fine. Any doubts? Any confusion so far? Anything at all?
Actually, layout file is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is coming default only, right? Layout. This layout file is coming with when you install the app only, right?
Yeah, that comes then only. If it is not there, just create it, but make sure that wherever you are creating, it will take the components of that only. It will take pages of that only. So if you are creating it inside about page, that will be a nested layout. So then it will be implemented just on this about folder pages. But if you're creating it on root component, that is this app component, not root component, but this app component, then it will be applied to the whole application, right? Because now you have created it inside this app directory. So now that will be applied everywhere. But let's say you do not create layout.js here, rather you create it inside this about folder. In that case, it will be applied only on the pages of this about. So if I go here /about, then it will be applied only on this about like this. And if you have some other pages of about, let's say you have info, so it will be applied on that as well. But when you create it on root, sorry, not root, I'm again and again saying root, but it should be app directory. But when I create it on app directory, in that case it is applied on the whole application. Clear?
Yeah, in the navbar you have imported all the client
No, I am not.
drinks and everything.
No, I have not imported anything. I've just created it array.
Okay.
And I'm iterating over that array. So I'm not importing anything here. I'm just importing this link so that I can use that here and here. Okay. You do not need to import anything. You just need to import the things that you want to show everywhere. If that too in layout.js. So I wanted to show navbar on my entire application. So I imported that so that I can use it here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else? Any other doubt? Any other question?
Hey, hi, Rupam.
Hi.
So in the layout.js, you are
Mm-hmm.
importing navbar.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you using @ symbol here? You can use dot dot then components and navbar.
Yeah, you can use that, but I can use this also, and this looks much better. So I'm
So
not
like, what is the difference?
nothing much, no difference.
Okay.
This is a better way. This is another way how you can import that, how you can look for path, how you can look for folder,
Okay.
right? You have that way also. You can continue it with that way. There is no issue with that. It's not like that it will make your application better or worse. It's the same thing.
Okay. Okay.
It's just two different ways how you do that.
Okay. So there is a no difference between two.
No.
Oh, good.
It's similar to whether I message you on WhatsApp, whether I message you on Insta. It's just two different ways of communicating with you, no? But
Yes.
essentially,
Yes.
I'm just messaging you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay. One more thing. Whatever the components that we have created until now, like this component or this component, these were all server components. So by default, NextJS uses server components. So they are running on the server actually, and not on the client's browser, right? When you work with server components, they are rendered on the server. That is why, as I said, they are running on the server and not on the client's browser. Then there are second kind of components. You have your server components, okay, which are rendered on the server, as I just said, and they by default NextJS uses server components. So they are, I'm writing exactly what I said, they are running on the server and not on the client's browser, okay. But so when you want to use them, you can just simply create a component, and that would be created a server component because it's by default NextJS uses that. But let's say if I want a client component, which I do want to be run on the client's browser, in that case I will have to specify like this: use client at the top of the component that I'm going to create. And I only use client component when we want to use browser APIs. Example, if you want to use local storage for some purpose, then in that case you will have to use client component, right? Because you want them to run on the browser, you want to use the local storage, so you will need the client's browser. In that case you will specify use client at the top of the component. So if I am creating this, let's say this particular component, so here on the top I will specify that I want this to be a client component, and hence it helps us to create full stack applications. Normally browser components, server components will be created, they will run on the server, and that's it. But when you want to create a client component, you will have to specify that. Here you do not need to do that, because again it's by default. I'm repeating these things again and again so that it just sticks in your mind, you remember these things. All right, we'll come back to this. I'll keep on coming back to this and we'll keep on revising them. Let's style our home page for now. Okay, so we are here. Let's remove all of this. Let's make a div, and inside div let's make a class h1 with a class name of x-5xl. Also let's give it mb8 font dash bold, and in here I'm going to give NextJS tutorial. I'll save this, let's go back and let's see what exactly do we have here. Yeah, there you have it, NextJS tutorial. And in the next line I can go with link. Let's start it kind of thing. href whatever the link that you want to give. I'll also give a class name of btn-accent. Save this, go back, and there you go. You have this button. So if I click on this button, I will go to client's page. As you can see, I can come back anytime I want. Okay, this is fine. What I also want to do is, let's make some as client component. So let's say if I do want to use something for client, so let's go to client page. That will give you an example. So what I'll do is, at the top I'll be making this use client. Okay, and in here I will again make this a div. Now when you make this as a use client, you can use whatever the hooks that you want. So let's say if I want to use state hook, I'll just write import use state from React, and in here I will be able to use that. So text -7xl down font bold, and here MB4. I will create a state over here. I will say const count comma set count use state. Let's keep it 0. And in here let's specify this as count. After h1 let's make a button, and here let's give some classes. So btn dash primary. I will give these classes to this. I will hit enter, and in here I will say inquiries like this, not inquiries but inquiries. That is my accent. Okay, and here I'm just going to write set count to count +1. Let's save this. Let's go to client, and now if I click on that, 1 2 3 4 5, and that will keep on working with that. Basically your client component, it runs with the help of JavaScript. Okay, let me make this easier for you. Essentially the way it works is we send HTML and then we also send the JavaScript. We send HTML and then we also send the JavaScript, and once the JavaScript spins up, we get the functionality that we needed. Okay, let me show it to you with an example as well. Just a second. Let me think of what the simplest that I can tell you. Okay, this should do it. If I just show you it with the console.log. So okay, I don't think you can see this file. Let me show this on this file, back on this file. Okay, so with that I thought that you could see that. So let's say if I just write it over here, if I write console.log client component. Okay, if I write this client component over here, if I go back, if I open my console, look, you will get that client component here. Look, if I click on that, you will keep on getting client component. So again, it runs with the help of JavaScript. Essentially the way it is working is we send HTML, then we send JavaScript, and once the JavaScript spins up, we get the functionality. Okay, this was our client component. But let's say if I have my home page, which is a server component, and now in here if I write console.log home page. Okay, if I write this, now look, if I go to home page, look, I'm not getting that here. That console.log home page that I just did, it is not appearing here. So where it is appearing? In my server. Look, if I save this again, look, compile, and I get a home page. So you see the difference that is occurring over here. So this code is going to run in the server. Basically, once all the functionality is done running, NextJS is going to ship the HTML to the client, which of course is awesome because it's going to be much faster since we don't need to load all of that JavaScript now if we are working with server component. But if we need something in client component, then obviously we'll have to use client, and that will work like this. Okay, but the downside of this server component is that once we ship that HTML, unfortunately we cannot magically recreate the interactivity. So in order to interact with a component, yes, we still need the JavaScript. That is why we set up client components, and we can use all these hooks, browser API, local storage, and other cool stuff. Okay, that is why you cannot see that in console over here. You see this in home page. So everything has its downside and upside. But yeah, it will. I hope you got it. Is this clear? How this client page, client component and server component is working? Okay, I hope the basic concept is clear. Later on, you'll see that you'll get it in much better way. Okay, one more thing. This client component that you have, the server components that you have here, they provide you with the many functionalities. So one of them is obviously data fetching. So now we are going to look at each one of them one by one. So data fetching in one such. Basically, if I say in words, unlike the traditional React application where the user, let's say, required, let's say, a page, okay, where the user requested a page, then once the page was loaded, there was actually a JavaScript code which was fetching data from somewhere, right? We used to write that response, then we needed data, which was again using that async await. So again, the user's browser needed to make the request, and only when the data came back, then it was displayed in the browser. With our server components, in this case, we right away on a server fetch the data, which most likely is going to be much faster as well, since you are fetching that on server. And the users, and because we are not going to rely on the user's internet connection for that. And then once we have all that data ready to go, that's when we send back pretty much ready to go HTML also. So it is directly shown over there. Getting it? Am I making some sense? I know there are few things that might be going over your head, but as you practice more, it will get much easier. But what I'm trying to just say over here is that normally when we, let's say, use API, what happens is you write some JavaScript code, and with that on client's browser only, you look for that API. You try to fetch that data from that JavaScript code. All of that happens on the client's browser only, right? There needs to be some JS to be loaded, and it takes a bit of a time. But if you're using server component, all of this happens on the server, so it takes lesser time, and when all of that is done, it just sends back your data directly over here along with the HTML, which is directly shown. So it is much more faster. We will discuss that, do not worry. Let's go to this drinks page that we are having. Here we have this page.js, so let's quickly work on that. Okay, and in here I'm going to get a API. Yeah, I will have to check this. It was something like this only, API JSON version 1/1 search.php. Then I think it was f equals to whatever I wanted. So say, okay, this is supposed to be question mark. Let's check this if this is correct, and if it is correct, we will move further and write some code for this. Yeah, it's correct. We are getting this A1, and that should be ABC. Yeah, so they are all starting from A. Perfect. So we have this API now. So the first function that I'm going to write is to fetch the data for this. So fetch drinks async. There you go. And obviously, since I've written async, I can use await now. New promise resolve. And what I would do is I would instead of directly resolving it, I would set timeout of a few seconds. Resolve comma 1000, so 1 second, and after 1 second that will be sent so that it can fetch data and it can do whatever it wants after that. And in here it will take that time only in order to fetch our data, right? I hope you're aware of that. Then I will write await, and I'm going to fetch my URL just like we normally do. I'm looking for the data, which is await response.json. We are master in this now. We have been doing this our whole React.js workshop, and if you attended some of JavaScript lectures, there also we did a similar kind of a thing. But in React.js, most of the time we used to write these 2 lines only in order to fetch our data. Now let's make our drinks page component. So drinks page, again I will use async. Okay, and let's get that data. And how do we get it? By invoking the function, that's fetch drinks function that we have. And if we look for console.log data, then we'll get that. But before that, we need to have a return, because you always need a return whenever you create a component. So we'll create a div over here with a h1 with a class name of, let's say, I don't know, text-7xl or something like that. And let's say drinks page. Yeah, and that would do our work. Let's save this. Console. I'll go to client page, sorry, drinks page. The resource was preloaded. Okay. This is a server component, so we will get that. Okay, why are we getting undefined though? It seems to be some mistake that we have made for sure. Let me quickly check that.
Maybe you have to return the data from fetch drinks function.
I have created a variable, so that should do it. Let me check. We have the URL. Have this here. We will do this later. I will try to show it to you. Now if I check for that, yeah, we are getting that data. That is fine. And this I'll tell you why we are not getting. I know, but I have to like explain it to you another way. We can do it if we include the loading part. So let's include the loading part and let me explain that to you. Okay, so then we'll include this and you'll know this. Now this NextJS also provides you with a file called loading.js, which essentially is used when you want to load something. Okay, so it is a special file that helps you to create meaningful loading UI with React suspense. So with this convention, you can show an instant loading state from the server while the segment of a route segment loads. Okay, so whenever there's some loading thing, whenever there's some APIs getting fetched, this will do it for you. You do not need to specifically specify there that okay, I need this now or I need some other thing. No, this will just do your work. So that is something we are going to do. We are just going to create this loading.js, and in here we are going to push our code that we need. Okay, and also I am going to make this back. So once you have seen this data over here, I'm going to keep this again over here. Okay, and now I will not need this, but yes, I will need this. Okay, this all is fine. Let's get loading.js as well. Okay, span, and I will give it a class name of loading and export default loading. Save, go back. Okay, yeah, no, was showing error. I thought why it is getting error. Now if I click on this drinks, look, that loading cursor, right? And then we are getting this. I'll again load, then we get this. So once it is fetched, we are able to get that. Okay, I hope it is very clear to you what we are exactly doing right here. So you can work on that and that will work just fine for you. So you wouldn't have any issue. Yeah. Okay, that return. Okay, you were talking about here. Correct. Thanks for that. Yeah, now it will work. So if I go to client or if I go to drinks, if I reload it, then I will see drinks page here and I will see this data here. Okay, so now everything is going to work just fine for us. I can remove these lines if I want. Perfect. Okay, so this is how you can work on that, and you can work on this loading.js. You can fetch your data and you can show these things. Is this all clear? Any doubt, any question?
Rupam,
Yeah,
can we customize that loading cursor?
you can customize. Basically this class name that I'm passing now, this is coming from DaisyUI, so you can check for more for that. Here you can search for more components for loading and you can pass in more class
Okay.
names under that. Yeah, here this loading is here.
Okay.
So you have this, like you can make this like this also. So if I make it, if I give these classes, it will be even better.
Okay. And timing also you can fix.
Whatever you want to do, you can do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like CSS. You can like give whatever you want. If you want these
Okay.
bars, then I can take this class. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Any other doubt? Any other question? No? All good?
So, one question. So, right now this is using server-side rendering. So, if I say use client,
Mm-hmm.
and if I open the console,
Mm-hmm.
it gives a warning saying async await is not yet supported in client components, only server components.
Yeah.
So, is it like a limitation with Next.js,
Yeah,
or
that is why we have two components, no? Separate component, one for
what
server.
does that mean?
Yeah, that is a separation between those two components. We'll discuss all of this in the coming classes, so do not worry about that. We'll keep on discussing about client components and server components. We'll keep coming into scene. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, guys. This is it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll work more on this tomorrow. Like today, we looked at the outline thing. We looked at the basic things, structures that we needed to. Tomorrow onwards, we are going to go much deeper into this, and we are going to work on that only. So I'll see you tomorrow. Yeah, at the same time, 9 p.m. IST. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. If you have some feedback for me, if you have something to say, you can drop it in the message box. I'll look into that. Thanks for joining. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks.